All right, I'm just going to do this live to get it done. It's okay. You're not missing that much. I'm just doing this for a little bit of clout. But I happen to see this kind of vicariously because I really don't deal with Luna Oi or E-American, a.k.a. Aaron Johnson. I don't deal with either one of these people anymore. I do not watch their content because it's stale and boring. Not to say that my content isn't stale and boring. It is. I try to change it up a bit with some readings, but it is fairly stale and boring. So let's get into this. We're going to try to make this a short little video here. Short little stream. Let's go ahead and just share the screen right quick here. And this is something that I think Luna Oi may question. Hey, the Shock Raised, how are you doing? You doing all right? Is everything going okay in France? Like I said, I know the German politics has been real cringe, and I know that, like I say, I'm sure that the French have been saying it. Also, apparently, New Guinea, but Guinea apparently had an overthrow. It's obviously a francophone country, or at least to a point, and now they have they had a coup, and they have a military. They have a general in charge of it. So there you go. Mon Dieu, as the French say. But yeah, that's good. That's good. But let's go ahead and get into this. So this creep who called me a sex object is opposed to interracial relationships. By the way, we are married. Just keep going. More mask off. You clearly don't have any arguments except to dehumanize people of color and weaponize rape trauma. See, the thing is, there's a lot of hypocrisy in these types of people. So he said, Haas said this. You mean women of color who literally date white men? Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Run back to your white masters. Now that was excellent. I'm just going to say it. That was excellent. Somebody needs to call it out. The thing is, they do such horrible apologia. The thing is that both E-American Johnson and Luna Oi provide such horrible apology, and they're like, oh, Vietnam isn't perfect, but, and they do all this sort of cope and everything else like that. And they'll talk about decolonization, and they'll have all these folks on. But I guess, the thing is this, man, is I don't think E-American Johnson actually gives a shit about what he says. I really don't. The shit has come out that he was he's always been this goofy goober who just dresses up in these weird clothes and does puppet shows. He's been this way his whole life. He was a libertarian and everything else like that. He went to South Korea to try to be some sort of marketing guy. I don't even know what the fuck it is, but he did this. And, apparently he was married to a Korean woman. Didn't know if he got divorced from her, but then went to Vietnam and now marries this Luna Oi now after they've been in a relationship for however amount of time. And it'd be silly that they go for this whole, decolonization, like, well, unless white people join, these indigenous movements and whatnot, then, and it's all, like I said, this is typical of this sort of, Germans elected to the Freikorps XD. Yeah, we're getting ready for our next election year. Oh, mon Dieu. It's just so funny to me to see all this stuff. It really is. It's funny because it's been a while since I kept in touch with NC. Yeah, he's irrelevant in my opinion. Oh yeah, absolutely. Non-compete is irrelevant. The thing is, I'll say this about non-compete is that, he's just a loser. And I can say this being a loser myself, but it's like, he's just one of these guys who he's kind of one of these bros who's just like, hey guys, I got some pizza for everybody. Is it okay if I come in? And it's just like, oh yeah, oh Cindy, I'm sorry that happened to you. He's one of those dudes who just desperately wants to be seen as one of them. And I think it's like he can go ahead and do all the videos about ACAB and all this other stuff, but it's like, no, you're always going to be a honky. I mean, that's what I would tell him. You're still going to be a honky, whatever way you want to cut it. I happened to see this. Full disclosure, I saw this because apparently Vosh was talking about it, and I just happened to see it. Yeah, we might be losers, but we have heart. Yeah, NC is a loser with desperation. That is a very good point. That is a very true point, the Chakrayas. Absolutely. But I happened to see it on Vosh's stream, and apparently I saw something else, a bit of news, that apparently... Here, hold on, let me close the door right quick. Oh, he's still up. He's still up. Sorry about that. But apparently, Caleb Boppin and Jason Unruh are having beef. And I said to myself, oh, that's interesting. I don't care. But I was like, I mean, it's like I said, most of these individuals and these folks who try to hang on desperately to some sort of group have proven to be, just as irrelevant as they always have been, and just continue to fall down that rabbit hole. And I saw in the background of, screw it, let's go ahead and just find Jason Unruh's video. Let's go ahead and find it right quick. He's got like a pagan, he's got this pagan sort of like blanket in his room. I'm like, this guy is a LARPer. Holy shit. It's like he's gone full pagan. Oh my goodness. They always go to paganism, don't they? Oh boy. All because Luna rejected his nationalism. He seems to have excluded the whole national liberation struggle aspect. Oh boy. Haas is really outing himself as an awful person. But the thing is, though, Haas has made a fool of himself. I mean, that's guaranteed. I've really tried not to get involved with people like Jason Unruh because it's like, he's just boring. Not to say, like I say, once again, I'm calling myself that as well to a point, but it's like, he's just boring. Unruh, oh, holy shit. Unruh debated Haas? Okay, I'm going to watch this separately. Oh my goodness. Moppin the lying defamer. Oh boy. This is just sad. This is just pitiful. 41.5 thousand subscribers and 1.5 thousand views. I mean, my views are not great. Socialism for all. No, that guy's just a ridiculous boomer. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look. I don't even want to play the video because it's just such ridiculousness. Look at this. Look at this pagan LARP in the background here. And I know he's probably going to say, oh, the pagan LARP. Got to break past barriers. Oh, absolutely, yeah. It was sad. I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. I mean, it's all pitiful, but it's like, oh, man. It's like Jason Unruh. It's like, how much has he grown? It's like, oh, wow, I still have the same background. I still have, like, the LARPy hair. He's almost 40 years old. And he's still doing shit like that. It's like, oh, man. Lord have mercy. I don't even know, yeah. Third world people understand what first worlders don't. The response is just condescend to her by claiming she doesn't understand English when she clearly does. Oh, boy. Like I say, I mean, the thing is this, man, is you can go ahead and hate America. You know what? Let's just go ahead. Yeah. Why hasn't he ran for something yet? Has he? I have no idea. Yeah. At one point in that debate. Oh, man, that's just sad. I'm going to see part of it. Don't worry. I'm not going to make, yeah. It should. He's basically dog whistling Antifa to corner my wife and I on the street and beat the crap out of his despicable behavior. I would never do this to him. I would say this. I mean, Caleb Moppin is desperately trying to seem like he's... I mean, here's my critiques. Here's ultimately my critiques, and then I'll try to wrap this up. But ultimately, Caleb Maupin is trying to appeal to people who don't give a shit about him. Unruh is appealing to people who like him only because he gives them a platform. And I think that he just, he talks to these weirdos. I'm just going to say it. He talks to people that really don't have any power. And you have people like Luna Oi and people like Non-Compete who just kind of, they've stayed in this little zone of just like, well, we're going to do happy videos, but we're not anarchists, but we're not MLs either. They try to play this middle ground where it's like anarchists and, MLs can get along in this world or something like that. And only third world is going to understand. It's just like, I don't know. At this point, you can go ahead and hate America. I say that as someone who isn't American, but it's like, it's not going to be the way you think it will. It won't. You can go ahead and say, oh, it's idealism. I mean, the thing is, they're just so bad. I mean, all three of these folks, technically all four of them, are bad at trying to, do any sort of PR work. They're awful at it. They're awful. Infrared, I think, is just trying to appeal to something that will never, that once again, people that don't care. I think people like Jason Unruh, I think, have gone down that road of just like, well, even though I go to these salons and I clearly work like a regular job and then I do this shit on the side, somehow admits to being a white Muslim. Slavery, genocide, theft, land theft have their effects that last to this day. He denied the U.S. had anything to do with genocide. I would say this. I mean, the thing is, go ahead and just kill white people off. Just do it. The thing is that people will still be bitching about white supremacy. They will still be bitching about it. And I say that, once again, I know people are going to say, oh, but real life, two political rival factions will turn on each other. This is true. Mm-hmm. Nationalistic factor. Yeah, I can't remember whose quote it is, but inside every anarchist is someone who could have been a leader. Yeah, exactly. The thing, I mean, it's all just so sad. It really is, because it's like, I'll be doing readings again soon once I do my, oh, okay. Well, there you go. Check out the Chakraists channel for some OUN UPA historical vids. So if you want to know more about Ukrainian, what would be the fair response? I guess more Ukrainian nationalist sentiments, then check that out. I've said plenty of shit about Ukraine, but I would be interested more in Ukraine and kind of figure out some stuff about it. So anyway, check that out. I'll give my man a shout out there. Where was I going? I think it's sad. Because, like, I know I'm the leader of any group. I'm just some guy at this point. But I think at the end of the day, man, nobody has any real power. Everyone's just LARPing just for the sake of it, and they know deep down that they have no power, but they have created this space so that they could, air out their bullshit, basically. Me too. I mean, I'm in this boat. Let's not be, fake here. Is that people like Caleb Maupin have created this space for themselves. Haas has created a little space for himself. Unruh has created a space for himself. And like I say, in general, even Non-Compete, of course, Luna Oi and American Johnson, but none of these folks, I think, make much money from it. I think that they genuinely, truly believe what they're saying to a point and have made genuine friends from this. And so at this point, it is a social club. Yes. I was trying to keep it. Oh, okay. I'll just go ahead and be quiet for a moment. It's Pooter. I'll let him back in.
Okay.
Pooter, Scooter. Need help, Pootie?
No,
Okay.
This thing is going to drape.
Oh, yes.
Ow.
Yeah. Just a moment, folks. Just a moment. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Keep it open and I'll listen for him.
Okay.
And see, he did. Yes, he did. He did have him on once. Ironically, if I'm thinking right, he had him on with I'm trying to think of his name now because I can't think of it because they're so irrelevant. The guy that Peter Coffin promoted for a bit. Suck My Opinion. That's it. I couldn't think of the name because it's so cringe and so ridiculous. Yeah, Suck My Opinion. I don't even know if he's still online anymore. Hold on. What? Yeah, he was talking with Suck My Opinion. I remember that. He talked with Suck My Opinion. I think it was on that. It just, like I said, there's so many irrelevant people, you know, in the political YouTube sphere. It's just so ridiculous. And of course, people like Black Red Guard, I think that they're concerned about their OPSEC, and I think now that people have finally kind of realized that this guy's kind of full of it, where he's on Dr. Phil because of his mom, and of course all the white people this, white people that, and the fact is that his mom, his black mama, is with a white woman. And then, of course, you find out more about you find out more about Black Red Guard and find out that his mom paid one of her cousins to kill the father of Black Red Guard. It's nuts. It's freaking nuts. And you can find out this information yourself about Chris, whatever his name is, because I don't care. But you can find out this information. The censorship is rampant. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it is. But I would just say, it's so sad with these folks. That's why I'm trying to focus more slightly. I'm going to try to get back on track of talking more specifically about Texas news and that sort of thing. And you can go ahead and feel as you want to, but it's like, I'm glad to a point at least Haas did call out, the fact that it's like, how can how can you be, this anti-colonialist or whatever, and then not try to talk about interracial relationships? It's just like they don't really have an answer for that. Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, look, go ahead and hate America and hate everything about it. I've come to the point, but it's just like, go ahead and just hate the U.S. And, I don't have any respect for the flag or whatever, but it's like, at this point, it's like, nobody wants to go out there. What sort of relevance do you have? You'll say fuck the U.S. and fuck China or fuck Russia or whatever, but it's like, okay, then who's going to back you? It's that simple. I've talked about this before. It's like you gotta have a base. It's like, you gotta have somewhere where you're going to get money and weapons from. Vietnam got help from China and the USSR, but a lot of it came from China in the later years, especially. And then, of course, you had the Sino-Vietnamese conflict in '79, and that comes from a lot of deeper issues. But it's like, the fact is, though, is that they got support from that. And you can go ahead and talk about whichever, but you got to have some sort of support from a bigger country. And it says that a lot of it is assumption. And of course, people will say it's idealist because it's like, oh, we're going to win. Or, the idea that it's like, well, Marx and Engels said that, basically, well, you shouldn't have a formula and everything else like that. And the historical conditions are going to be different wherever. It's like, yeah. But it's just, I don't know. At the end of the day, they do a horrible job at trying to convince people. This is why, the thing is, it kind of proves the point, doesn't it? Where it's like people like E. American Johnson, a failed marketer, trying to promote, his form of socialism while living in Vietnam with his Vietnamese wife, is not really moving the needle. You'll see these indigenous movements, but even then, these indigenous movements will have their own fights. You'll see that with the American Indian movement. And of course, people say, oh, it's a setup. And, you'll see, I believe it was Mary Aquash, if I'm thinking right, the woman that was murdered, part of the Micmac Nation, and all this sort of thing. Yeah. It's like America's forgot how France helped them, for their war of independence. Yeah, exactly. Yep. That is true. That is true. Without France and without people like, Captain von Steuben, the allegedly gay Prussian captain who came, to Valley Forge, would the U.S. military be the same thing? I don't, like I say. And of course, I know what MLs are going to say. Well, the American Revolution was counter-revolutionary, and all right. But at this point, whenever I hear that word decolonization at this point, I'm just like, I just roll my eyes because it's just like, okay, go ahead and go for it, I guess. You think you're going to do better for the land? Okay, go ahead then, I guess. I'm at the point where it's just like, all right, prove me wrong. Please do. Yeah. I sometimes joke saying that the U.S. owes France big time. Well, yeah, that's true. The thing is, at least do something for the, Statue of Liberty, That was a gift from France, And then, of course, we're like, screw, we're gonna do the deal with Australia, Sorry, France and your diesel subs, au revoir, au revoir, mon frere, right? Massive loans besides military support. Yes, that is true, GSP. That is true. Yeah, France owes the U.S. The U.S. owes France a lot. They really do. Oh, I don't know. It's tiring. It's been a while since I did a live, so I figured I'd do it today. But yeah, it's just so sad the way these things go down, And you'll see all this sort of stuff go on. You'll see the hatred and the cope that goes back and forth, and you're just like, this is really how it is, huh? Sorry for the dead air. I'm just saying is that it's one of those things that just, it's never, Now you have neolibs in France saying we need nuclear fusion due to the surprise economic forum plans. Oh, really? Yeah. I'm number one now, so it don't matter. Yeah. That's true. That is our attitude, though. It really is. I don't know. It's frustrating because you see these folks and you realize that just how irrelevant politics outside of like Democrat and Republican really are. And you wish, even if they are LARPers, this and that they would at least provide something better. But they can't even do that. It's just to enrich themselves. People like Infrared Haas do this purely to enrich themselves. People like Jason Unruh. I think maybe to a point we'll give some lip service to ideas, but I don't think. I mean, to a point, I'm going to try to be good faith, but I don't think it really enriches him the same way. I mean, Caleb Maupin, I think, does this just to kind of virtue signal and kind of, he's like, I'm part revolutionary, but also part journalist type of thing, Now you have, people like Xavier Bertrand. Oh, wow. Huh. He was on the news 2 days ago due to him being a presidential candidate for next year. Who is this Xavier Bertrand? Let's go ahead and look at that. Why not? It saves me from rambling about whatever the hell I was talking about. French politician. Let's see more about this guy. Let's see here. Let's look at Politico. Why not? Who's who in the race to find a conservative candidate to run for French president? Let's see what we got. Emmanuel Macron did more than secure the presidency. He stomped all over the traditional big beasts of French politics, the conservative Les Républicains. Since then, the party has been staggering around like a drunk at a wedding, but it needs to pull itself together ahead of next year's presidential election. Okay. For months, the conservatives have adopted a Darwinian approach, hoping that a leader would naturally emerge from the ranks and impose him or herself on the party. It hasn't happened. There are plenty of candidates to choose from. Macron and Le Pen. Here are the names to look out for in the conservative candidate contest. The star pupil Valérie Pécresse, graduate of National School of Administration. Pécresse rose steadily through the ranks from a government advisor to cabinet minister. She presents herself as 2/3 Merkel and a third Thatcher. Ugh. Barf. To which a government spokesperson quipped, she's much more than 2/3, no manifesto, 1/3, no ideas. Yeah. Oof. Yeah. Catch up with her main opponent, Xavier Bertrand, in the polls. Well, let's see what this says. Okay. Well, we'll look at this, though. Why not? We'll go ahead and change it up a little bit. Clean track record. Pécresse, too posh. She struggles to shake off her bourgeois image. Okay, the loner. Okay. Hopes to quash the opposition without taking part in a party primary, which he vehemently opposes. Let me go ahead and see. Let me make sure, I said way back to an alt-right guy who had a small YT channel that without aid from Russia or China, the American right has zero chance to accept. Yeah, it's true, though. It is right. Without aid from Russia or China, the American right or the American left there's zero chance. You have to give into these things a little bit. You can't, like I said, people want to stand on principle, but it's like, look, there's principle and there's also getting people fed and getting people paid. Those are two, like I say, you can go ahead and stand on principle all you want to, but it's like, I need to get paid, and it's just like, I'm not going to work, it's like nothing moves until the money moves, right? So, yeah. But it's true, though. It is true. I mean, it's the same thing. It's like, you go ahead and say Iran is a stronger player. It's like, yeah, Hezbollah would not be anything without Iran. So it's like, anywho, let's go ahead and read through this here a little bit. Continue sans accepter. Oui. Can I just go back? Oh, mon Dieu. Okay, accept. Yeah, I accept it. Oh, okay. Sorry, this is the other one. Sorry. Mon Dieu. Oh, can I translate that? I'm not going to worry about it. Okay. A former insurance man. Bertrand says he has always been mocked in elite Parisian circles due to his humble beginnings as an MP, was nicknamed Flock Flock, because of the sound of his rubber-soled shoes on the marble floors of the National Assembly. Bertrand hopes his man of the people touch will prove an asset, not a handicap, in the race for the Odysee. He pushes conservatism with a welfare twist and struggles to find support among party colleagues, hence the aversion to a primary. He's not liked and he is not a team player. Oh, said one party heavyweight. However, polls suggest he is more popular with voters and could be the party's best shot at the Elysee. After winning elections in the north of France this year, Bertrand announced that he had smashed the jaws of Le Pen's national rally. Tenacity in the face of adversity from friends and foes, a go-it-alone tendency to get presidency, Bertrand will need to build bridges. Intéressant. Intéressant, as the French would say. Apologies for my French. It's been a while since I've had any connection with French, but yeah. Who is this guy? The schoolmaster, Michel Barnier. The EU's former Brexit point man. Oh boy, okay. Brings well-honed negotiating skills to the table. Barnier declared his candidacy in August. Barnier held 27 EU member states together on Brexit. One of his first moves as a primary candidate was to take a couple of pot shots at those in the party who don't want to play by the rules of the game and at Macron on Brexit, but now says his leadership has been too solitary, too vertical, and sometimes too arrogant. Some say he's a bit dull. This is probably going to be the guy. I'm just saying, this guy seems a bit like a Trump mixed with a Huey Long. I think in some way, maybe that's kind of a bad mix, but that's my read on it, just by the first read of this. This guy seems like he would learn to play the game as he said here, by the rules of the game. He seems like a fuddy-duddy. Oh boy, the Hawk. Oh boy, Eric Ciotti. Was one of Nicolas Sarkozy's muse on Law and Order back when the Conservatives were running France. In the past, he suggested jailing parents of delinquent children who break bail. Oh, wow. And suspending parents whose kids skip school. Oh, wow. And is now confident of other topics such as COVID-19, nuclear power, and industrial autonomy. He would prefer to vote for Zemmour than Macron. Yeah, he would be smeared immensely. So, yeah. I want to make sure I'm not missing anything. I've learned about Le Pen. She supports the JDL. Oh, Lord. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, foreign aid. Yeah, it's true. Neoliberal policies requires a manager, not a leader, because it's the oligarchs who do the leading. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And they have their front men. They have the celebrities and all that keep the things going. They have the AOCs and everything else like that. Yeah, absolutely. That is true, though. It's all behind the scenes. That's the whole thing. Do not look at the man behind the curtain. It's all that Oz sort of stuff. I don't know. I know people have used that before, but I'm giving it here. If he supports Zemmour, he's going to get wrecked. Oh, okay. So who's this Zemmour guy? Who's that? See some, well, anywho. Let's see here. I will look back on that and I will read the comment, but yeah. Maybe I'll look at it here. The doctor, Philippe Juvin. Another outsider, Juvin, has one big asset. He can speak with authority on a surprising number of issues. Head of an emergency ward of a big Paris hospital, has been turbo-driven during the COVID-19 pandemic. Also a former army doctor who served in Afghanistan, an ex-MEP, and one-time mayor of the town in the Paris suburbs. Striking a different strength to note to his more conservative colleagues, Juvin styles himself as a champion of France's public services. Yeah. The prodigal son. Laurent Wauquiez. Returns to national politics has been widely anticipated and much called for. Disastrous election results in 2019. Oh, okay. He was good friends with Sarkozy. Okay. His disastrous leadership left a mark. Okay. Hardline grabber. Yeah. Unless he's persuaded to change his mind. Yeah. Protesting wearing a yellow vest. Oh, wow. Wiretapping colleagues. Wow. Okay. And the referee. Finding the Republicans candidate, the mayor of Antibes, I think, is pushing for a primary to be held this fall and is trying to convince Bertrand to take part. Les Republicans have launched a nationwide poll to help them decide whether to go ahead with a primary. A decision should be made at a party conference this month. If they don't, party grandees may make the call on who runs. Well, there you go. Very interesting on about France. He's basically alt-right who just complained. Oh, okay. Is a hypocrite and quite schizo who just complains about globalism and Islam. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, okay. He's one of those types. Oh, interesting. Intelligent. Let's see here. Politique. I'm not going to try to read this in French because my French, as you can hear, is not very good. It's not very good, mon ami. I'm sorry. I can kind of BS my way through, but I'll sound like someone who's doing Hercule Poirot. And I know Poirot was Belgian. I do know that. I do know enough about that, but well, that is interesting to say the least. Where else do we go from here? I think that I just don't have much faith in dissident politics. I can go ahead and pay attention to some details here and there, but overall, it's pointless. The whole Democrat-Republican thing is just like, well, Democrats are spineless or whatever, and Republicans are, just basically they're puppets of business people. So it's just, you could say the same thing about Dems too, to a point, but it's just like, we see this whole stuff with the infrastructure bill and the reconciliation stuff, and it's all just pointless because we know damn well that the reconciliation and the infrastructure bill will not be enough. It will only affect certain areas, and everything else will just kind of go down the hill. Yeah, you should look him up. Honestly, you will see that, for example, he goes against French, identifying as something other than French while calling herself a Berber or Berber dissident. Oh, really? So he's, okay. I should have known by the name. Well, okay, now I have to know. Okay, let's go ahead and see here. So this Eric Zamora guy. Oh, wow. French far pundit, essayist. Okay. Born to a Jewish family from Algeria. Of course. I'm sorry. I'm going to sound like alt-right myself here, but it's like, of course. He goes on and on about Muslims because, yeah. Oh, boy. Mon Dieu. He worked as a reporter for Le Quotidien de Paris from 1986 until 1996, and for Le Figaro until he was dismissed in 2009 after controversy erupted or statements he had made for which he was convinced of incitement of racial discrimination. 2,000 euros. Oh. Let's see what we got here. Anti-feminism and gay ideology. Comments on race. Oh, let's hear this. Let's see his comments on race. Hosted by Isabel Giordano, that blacks and whites belong to two different races and that this difference was just discernible by skin color without ranking them hierarchically. He asserted that Melanesians and Antillians belong to the same race. If there's no such thing as race, there's no such thing as intermixing. He continued the sacralization of race during the Nazi period and earlier has been followed by the negation of race, and to me, they are both equally ridiculous. He kind of has a point to a degree, but let's be careful. Following a number of controversies on the internet as a result of his comments, Zamora also published a reply in the weekly Vendredi faced with the general outcry caused by the views expressed by Eric Zemmour, will think twice before inviting him again. Anti-racism. Oh boy, here we go. Oh Lord, hold on, we'll get to it. Which he considers, along with feminism, put on trial the anti-racism of the 1980s, which he considers, along with feminism, to be bien pensant to a bien pensant cause, derived from the milieu of French and Western pseudo-elites that the people will not follow in the least. He says that it was especially after reading Pierre-André Taguieff, study of racism and anti-Semitism, who is known for his positions and work on the Nouvelle Droite and anti-racism, that he understood that anti-racist progressivism was the successor of communism with the same totalitarian methods developed by the Comintern during the 1930s. According to him, anti-racism is a tactic initiated by Francois Mitterrand to make people forget the left's turn to economic liberalism in 1983. He claims that anti-racism is an ideology implemented by former leftists who had to give up their illusions with immigrants. These people had found a kind of alternative revolutionary people. He also sees Le Pen as too left-wing. Oh, wow. He also been slandered because he said that Jews were saved under Pétain. Wow. Never heard of this guy either, but yeah. In La Première Sexe, he claims the existence of the devirilization of society during the 20th century and asserts that women and homosexuals have been used as a reserve army to modern capitalism's need for consumers. He accuses feminists of being demagogues and verging into political correctness in denying or rejecting the history of French society and the psychological work of Freud. I note only that Freud is vehemently rejected today by all the bien-pensants, feminists, and other activists for same-sex parents. He believes that man is by nature a sexual predator who uses violence. In a parallel to this definition of virility as sexual predation, he believes that certain ideas define the role of women better than others. He believes the gay ideology to be one of the main means used to invite a man to become a woman like the others, to adopt the behavior of women. However, he differentiates homosexuals as individuals from gays as a group. Oh, he's trying to appeal. Oh, you can't do that. A character ponders the place to be given to homosexual individuals in every traditional society founded on shame and secrecy, respect for life, and the fear of death. Gays would have become stigmatized and isolated like the lepers of old. Zemmour does not fail afterwards to explain that these are the views of characters in a novel. Oh. The characters in this book do not display real-life characters. Oh, man. Cases before French jurisdictions. Oh, wow. So this guy, yeah. Oh, mon Dieu. La France n'a pas dit son dernier mot. Well, there you go. This guy said, yeah, what the fuck? I love this guy now. Yeah. Mon Dieu, this guy. Oh, boy. This guy sounds like a winner, I'll tell you what. So he's got Clarice. Hello, Clarice. Sorry. Thibault and Hugo Zemmour. Who is Francis far right? Okay, well, let's go ahead and let's look at one more here. Let's go ahead and see what this guy has to. If there's anything more about this guy, it's probably gonna be more of the same. But yeah, Zemmour just 3 points behind Marine Le Pen. Oh wow. On Tuesday, President Macron referred to Zemmour for the first time, though not by name. We often pose the question of identity in political debates, Macron said, but our identity has never been built on narrowing things down. Oh, boy. Piercing look stares out of many a newsstand, most recently the front cover of Paris Match, bathing in the Mediterranean with his young female advisor. Hmm. Well, he is French then. I mean, that's kind of like the French and Italians, right? I mean, they can have affairs on the side. That's a perfectly European thing. Americans, it's a different thing. Like I said, we're anywho, but yeah. So how does Zamor get here? I don't know. Born in Paris, family of Berber Jews, came over to France during the 54 to 62 French-Algerian War, failing to get into the elite school of administration, headed into journalism, and until recently was a regular columnist for the conservative daily Le Figaro. Okay. Le Suicide Français, the French suicide, 40 years of defeated France, argued that neoliberalism has sent France into decline. It has become a bestseller. Zamor's reputation as France's most famous right-wing ideologue owes much to his regular appearances on CNews, a television channel resembling the U.S.'s Fox News, which supported Donald Trump. Polemicists, yeah. Has twice been convicted of racial and religious hate speech. He said most drug dealers are black and Arabic. Oh, Lord. And he compared Muslims in France to colonizers. He also called for 2 million foreigners to be expelled from France, including students from the African continent. 13 September, he stepped down from the Fast L'Info show, giving perhaps a clear sign, yet he may be preparing to announce his election candidacy. It came after France's audiovisual watchdog judged Zamor to be more of a politician than a journalist, meaning his media appearances must now be limited, as they are for other political figures during electoral periods. Shift to the right, to the Z factor. France slashes visas for Tunisia, Algeria, Morocco in row over illegal migration. Then on Wednesday, Interior Minister announced that the government had closed mosques, associations that he said were controlled by radical Islamists. Oh, wow. Here before the court on 14 Janvier, January 2011. Oh, wow. Mainstream right is also finding it difficult not to march to the beat of Zamor's drum. Michael Barnier, who's running to be the center-right Republican candidate for the president's polls, raised eyebrows when he recently called for a 3 to 5 year moratorium on immigration. The person who, in theory, stands to lose most if Zamor continues to rise is far-right personality Marine Le Pen. Fighting mass immigration and radical Islam has until now been her bag and kept her high in the polls. This week, she called for a referendum on citizenship, identity, and immigration control. Zamor claims Le Pen poses no threat. Marine Le Pen would never win, and everyone in the national rally knows it. Oh, wow. Maybe overconfident, he has little political experiences, has never held elected office, and has no party behind him. What's more, he remains a deeply divisive figure among the French public overall. Oh, wow. Jean-Luc Mélenchon. Let's go ahead and look at this. Why not? We're already in deep, so let's just go for it. We're just going to go for the gusto here. Let me see what this one video is right quick. Oh, okay. Winter Olympics is coming. What do you know about curling? I don't care about curling. I genuinely don't care. And this is just sad. Okay. Let's go ahead and jump into it then. Let's find out who Florian Philippot is. And we're going to go ahead and see who Jean-Luc... I've heard that name, Jean-Luc Mélenchon. But let's go ahead and see more about this guy. Marine Le Pen we kind of already know about. So why not? We're going to go ahead and do the French politic thing. Yeah. With the left in France, it's too cringe from my perspective. Yeah. He's one of the dissident right guys, basically. Yeah. He's been compared to Maurras once. Huh. Really? I have not read anything by Maurras. I've heard a little bit about him, but yeah. Is my favorite Berber. Yeah. Because she has softened her core message. Yeah, it happens. Jean-Luc Mélenchon, 70 years old, Tangier, Morocco. Oh, wow. Let's go ahead and see here. Is there anything? Yeah, let's go ahead and just click on his wiki page and we'll go from there. Let's see how left-wing this guy really is. Boucher de Rhône, joining Socialist Party in 1976. Positions, let's go ahead and see here. Political positions, let's see here. Sixth Republic in the French Constitution, why not? The new constitution that France needs to be radically different. Le Monde, France must protect itself from the powers of finance. Oh. They devour the real economy. He goes on. To this end, the definition of constitutional rights of private ownership of capital should change. Again, it is inclusion in the Constitution that will fix this and make it a common rule. Also endorsed the movement of the Sixth Republic and has spoken positively of them before. Okay, agricultural and animal treatment, manner treatment for animals. Can't really, like I say, there's not much you can say about that. Mélenchon, 63% in 2012. So it's compiled 71.4%. Foreign policy, Germany. Critical of German policies. Okay. Well, but I'm not being anti-German. Oh, come on. You're French. It's okay to be anti-German. It's all right. Just talk about Alsace-Lorraine. It's okay. It doesn't, My aim is to rid my readers of any fascination with the so-called German model. What a model indeed. It is a mockery, a fake paradise. Yeah. Describe reform efforts so far in France and Italy as insufficient. Mélenchon replied through Twitter, Frankreich ist frei. Occupez-vous des pauvres. Shut your mouth. Sorry. Shut your mouth, Miss Merkel. France is free. Take care of your poor and your ruined equipment. It's pretty fun. Oh. Bismarck's hearing Mélenchon wrote that Germany is again a danger. Its imperialism is returning. And the EU is its empire, is its new empire. Oh, yes. Germany is really the leader of the EU. Oh, yes. Nazi Germany never died. It just turned into the EU, The EU is the Fourth Reich, Sorry. I'll take that as, grumbling Teutons who seek to deport their old people to Eastern Europe or Thailand. And he's written that German expansionism was at work in the country's 1990 reunification and annexation of East Germany. Russia. Mocked accusation of support for Vladimir Putin, saying that it is unlike an eco-socialist, oh boy, to support Vladimir Putin, and when attacked by Benoit Hamon, let's see here, is in favor, oh boy, of a United Nations-led intervention in Syria. He's one of those lefties. Okay. He compared an intervention in Syria to Iraq and has approved of Russia's intervention in Syria. Okay, hold on. Whoa. Okay. All nations on the Security Council. He opposes intervention without international cooperation after the chemical attack in Ghouta. He says that he feels like a strike on Syria would be a mistake and calls for a political solution. Okay. Intervention and has approved Russia's intervention in Syria, saying that he believes Vladimir Putin will resolve the ISIS problem in Syria, noting that if it was the Russians who cut off the lines of supply that Daesh used to smuggle oil to Turkey. Okay, that's a pretty good take. I will admit that is a good take. He is correct on that, and Putin and the Russians did do that. He said many times that he believed Putin could not be left to solve the problem in Syria alone, saying the UN will... Okay, this is where I disagree. The UN will solve the problem. No. The UN has done a horrible job about that. No. Turkish military operation Paris against the YPG. If Turkish footballers do the military salute, they must expect to be treated as soldiers of an enemy army. So we do not play football against them. The basics of sportsmanship are no longer there. Venezuela criticized what he called European hypocrisy, comparing European tolerance of Saudi Arabian rule and intolerance of Venezuelan rule. Kind of a mean candidate because he keeps calling for a sixth republic, which means if we do that, we will have to vote again right after the Constitution is passed. Oh, okay. Interesting. Qasem Soleimani, we must equally condemn the USA and Iran as warmongers. Yeah, this guy is kind of like, wants France to withdraw from NATO and what he calls a separate France, which is pacifist. He opposes the concept of a unified European army. Also says that nuclear deterrence is an essential element of our protection, but it is outdated. Regionalism. Has no real position on regionalism, but has stated that he supports the teaching of regional language, especially in Breton. He supports state funding for the teaching of the Breton language. He has gone against autonomy for Brittany, even blaming socialists from the region. Oh, okay. So Toulouse apologized for his comment, claiming that, okay, whatever. Accusation of anti-Semitism. Ooh, let's read this. Should immediately withdraw these unacceptable comments. Unacceptable comments targeting Finance Minister Pierre Moscovici. So what did he say? Republican France bears no guilt. Ooh. Maintains that Republican France bears no guilt in the Holocaust and criticized Macron for admitting at a gathering in Paris, remembering the Veldiv roundup, that Vichy France was a legal French government at the time, thus conceding the French state's responsibility. Come on. Now. I mean, let's be fair. So, just because even Germany does it better. Come on. You can't. No. Mélenchon's comments were echoing those of former President Franz Mitterrand, who declared that the roundup and deportation of Jews to death camps. This is kind of like what Poland does, right? Where it's like German death camps. It's not Polish, right? So I understand what they're trying to do, but Haaretz noted that Marine Le Pen has made comments similar to Mélenchon's 3 months earlier. Yeah. Ignore requests from that. Promoted conspiracy theories. Figures of the left, such as Noam Chomsky or Jean-Luc Mélenchon, avoid criticizing conspiracy myths present in their own ranks because they can. Interesting about Mélenchon, yeah. When Turkey entered northeast Syria, ew, cringe. Supporting the YPG, no, that's gay. Let's see more about this Filippo. Oh, okay, he's a fairly young guy. Okay. Sorry, my nose is kind of stuffed up. Let's go ahead and read some more about him. I'm getting sleepy, but let's go ahead and finish this one up, and then we'll read more about Pierre-André Taguieff. Appointed strategic director of Le Pen's campaign. Appointed vice president. Okay. Oh, okay. Indicated that Filippo was gay, providing photographs of him and his boyfriend in Vienna. Invasion of privacy said he was neither gay-friendly nor the opposite of that. No. And it was not difficult to be gay in the party. Taguieff research. Oh, okay. So he's just kind of like, yeah. Okay. That's kind of boring. I think that's about it. Well, we started with infrared and Hans, and we went all the way to French politics, which I think was interesting. I am a little bit sleepy, as you can hear my voice, but that is genuinely interesting to see about France and the elections that will occur. So that was interesting. Like I said, I'm glad I went on that rabbit hole a little bit. I didn't go as far as I could have, but that was very interesting to say the least. As I know with France, especially with the beheading that occurred, a lot of people aren't talking about that, especially with France. With the upcoming elections and that sort of thing. I mean, obviously, I think Macron is going to have a heck of a time if he will get reelected, but who knows, right? But yeah, I think that's all I have to really say about that. And the infrared Haas stuff, meh. I said my piece on it. Same thing with Jason Unruh and Maupin and Luna Oi. Meh. That's all I can say to all of that. Meh. So I think that's all I got. I hope y'all enjoyed this. I think my dad's going to go to sleep. So I think we'll just go ahead and wrap this stream up. But I hope y'all enjoyed this. So see you later. Goodbye.